What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers desperately could use a center. Jackson Hayes is the only active center that they have on their roster right now. Maxi Kleber, as well as Christian Wood, are both injured, and who knows when they come back. Kleber might not come back at all. Christian Wood, your guess is as good as mine, right? Now, they could get through the season with Trey Jamison as well as Christian Koloko. The issue is that they can't qualify for the playoffs unless they're actually on the main roster. So the Lakers can waive a player, right? Say a Christian Wood. Waive him and then bring in some type of free agent or guy off a waiver, or even Trey Jamison or Christian Koloko. Bring one of those guys in and kind of run with those guys as like your starter or your backup. The thing is, though, Lakers are probably going to be patient, right? So if you're expecting the Lakers to run out and go get that center like tomorrow, you're probably going to be disappointed. Now, look, obviously things could change. Lakers could be like, okay, let's just go get this guy, right? If somebody gets waived in the next few days or something, that Lakers are like, okay, that's the kind of guy we want, right? Lakers could very well go grab that guy. But you just look at the guys that are on the market right now, the guys that are available right now. Who is there that really makes a ton of sense? Like, yeah, there's guys like, like Mo Bamba, maybe you can make an argument for. There's guys like, Daniel Tice, right? But like he's undersized. There's not like that clear-cut guy where it's like that guy is the guy that makes sense as your starter. Chances are you might not find that, period. But my guess is that, one, the Lakers will probably let Jackson Hayes kind of prove himself a little bit. My guess is that the Lakers will probably let Jackson Hayes get some run, get some burn, continue to perform in the starting unit, see how he plays off of Luka. Right? Luka is just coming to the team alongside LeBron's return on Monday, or expected Monday, as of now, right? Like, that's the plan. So my guess the Lakers are going to kind of see, like, how does Jackson Hayes play off of Luka? How does Luka feel about Jackson Hayes after, a couple games? I imagine that they'll probably give it some time, right? Chances are, my guess is the Lakers probably wait till closer to the end of the season, like maybe a month out or so. Couple reasons. One, again, that center that you get, everything gets prorated. Right? So the longer you can wait, the cheaper guys get, which means that the Lakers could bring in multiple guys if they wanted to, right? Lakers have about, 1.8 million, 1.6, 1.8 million. Right now, you're probably going to have to pay out that amount for a guy, right? But if you wait till like a month out to the season, then maybe a guy's only like 500,000, depending on the guy. You can bring him in, waive another guy, get another, 3-and-D wing, because we could use that, or a point of attack guard or something. Again, just kind of evaluate the season. See, okay, what are the real key areas? What are the areas that we desperately could use somebody going into the playoffs? Bring that guy or those guys in. And then now you have like a month or so to kind of get through, to get into the playoffs, build that chemistry with those two guys, and now you're off to the races. That's my guess. Again, I don't know this for certain. Lakers have done a good job these last few seasons of being patient, right? If there was that clear-cut guy, right? And we all have our suggestions. We all have our thoughts on who should be that guy. I've seen tons of comments, and I'll dive into some, right? I'll dive into a couple players. Please let me know down in the comments, guys, you want me to maybe break down. Maybe I'll do it in a list, or individual. If there's this is who people want the most, kind of break them down and their fit with the Lakers. If the Lakers were to sign them, we'll have some fun in that regard. But there's not that guy. You can make an argument for some guys, but none of the guys are a real starting center on a championship contending team, right? All these guys are kind of just they're probably your second or third big at best. A lot of these guys, like Mo Bamba, there's a lot of questions about his motor, and just all he wants to do is shoot threes and block shots. He doesn't really want to do all the little things, all the things that matter and important, but he has a really long wingspan. He's, an athletic big, right? He can run the floor, right? He's the kind of guy that makes some sense alongside Luka, right? And then, again, a Daniel Tice, stretch the floor, do a couple things out there on the basketball court, right? But again, he's 6'8", right? So it's is that the right answer? I've seen Larry Nance. Yeah, he's a high flyer, but he's more of a power forward than a starting center, right? Yeah, he's a guy that does the hustle plays, is willing to to do the dirty work, all those things. But again, he's like more of like what you want at the power forward spot as opposed to like your starting center. Lakers are probably going to run a lot of small ball, but the good thing with the small ball is that it's a big small ball, right? Like Lakers are big at the small ball position because you could go with something like, a Luka who's 6'6", 6'7", Jared Vanderbilt, who's, 6'8", Dorian Finney-Smith, 6'7", 6'8", LeBron James, who's, 6'9", and then Rui Hachimura, who's 6'8", right? So, like, literally, your entire, like, the small ball is actually a big size. Like, usually small ball is, like, 3 guards and then, like, a 6'8" center, and they're, like, stretching the floor and all that stuff. No, but for the Lakers, it's, like, everyone on the court is like 6'7" to 6'8", right? Like that's an advantage. And then you just team rebound. You kind of need everybody to buy in on the defensive side, but also just the team rebounding. But you look at it like Luka's a guy to go get you 8 rebounds a game. LeBron's a guy to get you 8 rebounds a game. Dorian Finney-Smith, Jared Vanderbilt has done an excellent job rebounding the basketball and getting offensive rebounds, which is huge, right? You're very reliant on Jared Vanderbilt and Dorian Finney-Smith. Like, those are the 2 guys, like, you desperately need to rely on, particularly for the defense purposes and then the hustle plays. Gabe Vincent has played really well. Guys are playing excellent basketball. Jackson Hayes has been good in the starting unit, but a thing that I think a lot of people don't, like, grasp, because, like, I've gotten a lot of comments from people that are like, what are you talking, like, Jackson Hayes is fine. Like, he's fine until you get to the playoffs, right? Could you get through the season with Jackson Hayes? Sure. Do you really want Jackson Hayes defending Jokic? I mean, he's a foul-happy guy already, right? You really want Jackson Hayes defending Jokic in a 7-game series? You really want Jackson Hayes defending Zach Edey in a 7-game series or a Şengün in a 7-game series, right? Like, you got to think of the centers that he'd be going up against in the playoffs, right? Like, if he's going up against, like, if we're going against the Thunder and it's like Isaiah Hartenstein, like, yeah, I think he's fine, right? Isaiah, don't get me wrong, I don't want to undersell Isaiah, but no, he's a hustle. He's like what we want Jackson Hayes to be, right? So, like, they kind of can match up. Like, Jackson Hayes, I think, can hold his own. Jackson Hayes is like 220 soaking wet, right? Like, that's not a recipe for success. That's a major disadvantage on a nightly basis in a 7-game series, right? Every team's going to have their disadvantages. Every team's going to have kind of like their pros and their cons, but that's the last thing you want is Jackson Hayes going up against somebody like that. I'm not against bringing in like a Trey Jamison and kind of letting him get some burn. Something that I've talked about, might like do a full video on it, kind of breaking it down because I've kind of just talked about it in passing, but like using the 10-day contracts, right? You could use the 10-day contracts as an advantage point to kind of run guys, right? Like, bring in a Mo Bamba on a 10-day. Give him a couple games. Let's see what he looks like. If you're kind of like, okay, maybe there's something here, you can give him a second 10-day contract. And then if it doesn't work, and let's say it's just like, he's not the guy, you let him go, and you bring in somebody else. And then you let him get the 10-day contract, right? Like, there's ways to cycle through guys, right? Like, even the 2-way contracts, right? Jordan Goodwin was fantastic. I love what we saw from Jordan Goodwin. Problem is, we need a center. Right? So you could use 2 ways to just, waive, because I wouldn't get rid of Koloko or Jamison because you need centers, but like get off of Jordan Goodwin, sign him to, your G League roster if he's willing to do that. Otherwise, he could be a free agent. And then just like bring some of these guys on 2-way deals and just be like, hey, we're going to just use you to experiment, right? Like, again, Lakers have already signed and waived like 3 guys off of a 2-way, right? So, like, you can keep doing that. Go ahead, right? Like, we've seen Quincy Olivari, Armel Traore, right? Like, Colin Castleton, right? Like, they've completely just keep bringing in guys, taking out guys, bringing in guys. Keep doing that, right? Bring guys in, take guys out, bring guys in, take guys out. But at least you can kind of get a look, right? Be like, hey, we're going to bring you on a 10-day, right? And then we're going to bring this guy on a 2-way and then just kind of evaluate and see. There's options there is my point, right? There's ways to kind of evaluate this and kind of get looks at guys, kind of, do the free trial before you subscribe to the service and then just kind of take it from there and just kind of see how it looks, see how it plays out. But, I mean, the Lakers, they need a center, right? You can't just have Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes misses any significant time, you're cooked, right? That's it, you're cooked. Right, so if you're the Lakers, you desperately need to find, ideally, that diamond in the rough, whether that's Koloko, Trey Jamison, whether it's somebody else. But ultimately, I think the Lakers just take a step back, Luka's just coming back. Guys are just coming back. Let's let them kind of evaluate some stuff here. Let's see how this team gels, right? Lakers are really good. They've won a lot of games recently. They got the 4 seed, all of that stuff. Let's kind of just wait, right? Don't jump the gun and go get a guy, and now you're cooked. Now you're stuck, and it's like, well, that was the wrong solution. My thing is like let's evaluate. Let's see who becomes available before we actually just jump on it. Yeah. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, you desperately need Jackson Hayes to stay healthy, right? You desperately. Because if he can stay healthy, if he can stay good, then that buys you time. Because you have him, you can go to the small ball units, you could play Koloko or Jamison in spots here and there, right? You'd be fine to get through till you need to. And then, like I said, a month before the playoffs, then you go make your decision. That would kind of be my thought process as far as how this goes. But again, if that clear-cut guy becomes available, a Rashard Holmes or something like that becomes available, then maybe the Lakers go and make a move. Maybe the Lakers go and make a trade in that regard. I do think problem is the options aren't great. But I do think if you're any backup center in the league, you're looking at the Lakers and I could get a starting gig. Right, I could play 30 minutes a game with the Lakers. So those are things that I'm sure guys are going to keep an eye on. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree that the Lakers should stay patient, wait for that right center to come involved, kind of test the market a little bit with 10 days or, bring guys off of 2 ways and stuff like that? I've seen people with Moses Brown, right? Maybe you bring in a Moses Brown, get him a couple games and just see what he looks like. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? However, let me know. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me not. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.